Hello, dear colleagues and students. My name is Koen De Wandeler. I'm an associate professor with the Faculty of Architecture at the KU Leuven. Today, I'm going to give you a little bit of explanation about the use of the preliminary checklists, which you will use in the in-country case studies that you are going to document in the next few days. These checklists are made on basis of and combining existing checklists produced by WHO. They have been filtered for what is relevant in Southeast Asia and filtered for what concerns the built environment. They address a wide range of topics ranging from infection prevention and control, water supply, infrastructure, structural safety, energy, and the like. These are the documents of which we've been talking. First of all, and maybe most important, is the Hospital Safety Index Guide for Evaluators that encompasses all measures that need to be taken for the safety of primary healthcare centers, inside the centers, in their immediate surroundings, and in the wider environment. Next to that, we have the WHO guidance for climate resilient and environmentally sustainable healthcare facilities. Also very important, especially in combination with the checklists to assess vulnerabilities in healthcare facilities in the context of climate change. Last but not least are the guidelines on core components of infection prevention and control programs. All these documents have been made recognizable in the checklist through the acronyms that you see below the publications as such. If you want further information, you can consult the following URLs for each of these documents. The checklist itself is subdivided in two parts. The first part deals with hazards in the district and neighborhood level. Of course, it has to do with the hazards to which the population in the catchment area of the primary healthcare center is exposed. But also, it deals with the emergency and disaster management measures that are taken within the primary healthcare center, but also by other authorities, like, for example, the sub-district or district or municipal authorities. At the scale of the primary healthcare centers itself, we of course look at the hazards that posing a threat to the primary healthcare center. But also we look at the safety. Remember the safety WHO standards. Safety in routine circumstances, where we look, of course, at the structural safety. That means the safety of the building and the carrying construction of the building, but also the non-structural safety, the elements that are part of the building, but that are not essential to keep the building upright, but nevertheless may pose a threat to the building, like, for example, glass windows that break due to strong winds. When the glass is shattering, it may cause damage and injury. So moreover, we need to look at emergencies and disaster, especially for those non-structural elements, whether they can withstand the expected disasters or emergencies. In terms of utilities, we of course look at the water supply and energy supply while the primary healthcare center is plugged into the grid. But what happens with that water supply and energy supply when there's an emergency, when there's a flood, when there's a tsunami, when there's a very, very heavy storm? How can the water and energy supply be ensured, even in those circumstances? And finally, we look at the provisions that routinely should be available in terms of climate resilience, but also in terms of infectious disease prevention and control. And of course, we have to look at the possibility that there's an emergency or a disaster and look whether these provisions are still operational and can guarantee the current continued operation of the primary healthcare center. So what you will see is basically a list of all these items, of all these criteria in a handy format that you can even fill out on your mobile telephone. For example, this is one example of a screen that you will see: tsunamis. What happens in the case of tsunamis? Should the primary healthcare center be prepared for a tsunami? In the case that the risk is low, you will just mark low. If there's a medium risk, you might mark average. And if the risk is really high, then you mark high. You can modulate your answer by adding a comment, but not necessarily. If the answer is clear enough by itself, there is no need for a comment. However, if one of these items, suppose we have earthquake, and the likelihood that there will be an earthquake occurring in the area of your case study, then you simply leave it blank and you write as a comment, not occurring in this area. As simple as that. Now, what happens with your data? Your data will automatically be recorded in a separate answer form. This answer form will then be converted to an Excel document, and that Excel document will allow us to quantify, compare, and visualize in the form of graphs what your primary healthcare center is like. This processed information will be shared with you on the 17th of July at the start of the on-campus gathering at the Thanasa Design School. Other interesting documents are plentiful. We listed a few of them here. In any case, I wish you all the best in your case study, and know that if you run into trouble, both Dr. Adrian and myself and Michele will be on standby to help you out. Thank you very much for your attention.